Okay, so hi, welcome everyone. So this is our 10 minutes Agile from Luxoft, and today we have myself here and also Alexander. So I am project manager at Luxoft, and Alexander is also project manager plus Scrum Master here as well. So and today we would like to talk a bit about a specific topic. So why is Jira is the most common tracking tool used by software companies. So we have a few discussions today. Alexander will bring some thoughts and some experience he had in the past, and I also share my current experiences as well.
All right.
So, Alex, would you like to maybe tell a bit more about your more recent experience? So it's not specific about Jira, but we will come to this point, right? So maybe you can talk a bit in one of your latest projects. How were you managing it? And just to share with our colleagues here, how was it?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Rafael. Hi, guys. Well, actually, I can say that it was a kind of long path to get Jira, because we've started actually with one team on the recent project with Confluence page. So to be honest, it was like an Excel, but without any formulas, nothing. So it was just lines. Mm-hmm. So actually, guys are pretty senior on senior level or lead developers, and that's why they actually knew everything. And the main important thing, why did we choose this approach with this just lines? And we created, it was just a line for a big task. For example, let's make a refactoring of some part of the code, and then we just split it into some other subtasks, but every task was again just the text line under the main one. And the main idea why we have chosen this approach, because it wasn't mandatory to track the time. So we have just a couple of items per every sprint, and we didn't have to follow how much time do we spend on it. So we just work in our usual mode, and that was the idea. But when we received another request from the customer that we have to track time, then we just realized that we have to go to Jira. So that was the point. And I don't know if it is the same with you, Rafael.
I had experience with a couple of tools. Jira, I had. So first time I used Jira, I cannot even remember. Maybe 2000. Let me try to remember. 2012, something like that. So it's a long time ago. And Jira was completely different. It was also a project with an automotive company, and what was quite interesting now that I started using Jira again, I see that it's completely different, right? So now we have much more like, let's say, concrete reporting, robust reporting tools. We have integrations and so on. So now it's much better. But I had experience in the past with also some other tools. So not only Jira, but also with Target Process, Azure DevOps as well, Trello, and so on, Pivotal Tracker. So, and I was even recently experiencing another tool, which is inside Microsoft Teams as well. Now you also have the option to somehow track your work.
Nice.
It's a very simple tool, to be honest, but depending on your demand, it can be used as well.
Yeah.
But in general, it's quite interesting to see you were able to somehow handle the work with the guys just using Confluence and maybe Excel together. But it works, right? So that's the point. That's the most important thing is if it's working, it's fine, right?
That's right.
But for Jira, I also have currently some experiences as well, and it's as I was saying, and as you were saying as well, right? So if you need to track time, then it's a good tool as well, because it's out of the box, and it's just like you have reports as well from that, and you can see how many time you plan, how many time you spend. But I guess it goes even maybe beyond that. So Jira it also has the reporting tool. It's very nice,
right?
And they have the integration with Confluence as well.
Yeah,
it's quite nice as well.
So you get the pack, everything in one. That's it.
So
But you've mentioned,
Yeah. Go ahead.
You've mentioned that the Teams is pretty simple, and I mean, when you're working in Teams, it is pretty okay and simple to use it. And actually, that was the question from the team when we switched from this very simple page in Confluence. When we switched to Jira, the question from the team was, why do we have to do it? And they were very stressed with all that fields in the task that you have to put all the information there. But I think that actually there are some tools that also they are more simple than the Jira, for example. Like Trello, you've mentioned, it's like more stickers on the board, and you can handle it more easier, not more, just easier. But I think that one of the advantages, along with the integration with Confluence and every other things, that you can adjust Jira anyhow you want. I mean, you can skip all the fields in every task. You can add new, so you can make it as simple as you want. Or if you need more reports, then you can add it. So yeah, it works. But yeah, you asked something, and
no, but it's a good point. I mean, also if you are using Jira, of course they have much more, let's say, configurations and parameters. It's more robust. So for example, the one with Teams, it's very, let's say, flexible, but it's very simple. So you can just create your columns, and then you just move things around, and that's it. But there is no, and the good thing of using, for example, this Microsoft Teams for tracking this tickets, for example, is that it's everything in one place, right? So if you are communicating with your team using Microsoft Teams, you have your video calls there, and then you also have the tracking tool in the same place. Well, that sounds nice. But on the other hand, if you go to Jira, I mean, Jira, as you were saying, it has much more parameters that you have to configure. You have to ask the team to fill the information. But on the other hand, especially for us, like project managers and so on, it gives much more control as well. So you can see, for example, you have an epic or you have a user story, and then you have subtasks, and you see what is the current status and so on. And you can control versions, you can control, I mean, there is even integration with Bitbucket, with the code repository. And then I mean, whether the pull request was approved, whether it was not, just in a single page, right? So I think this is a big plus that we have in Jira in comparison to other tools that might be more flexible, but on the other hand, it also not allow you to have everything in a simple way.
Do you use, by the way, this Bitbucket? Because we actually, really nice.
Yeah, for code repository, yes.
I think the only thing that we can propose to Atlassian that they make chat or video calls in Jira, and then they will defeat everyone else. They're good at it, right?
Similar tool, I mean, depending on the technology you're using in the projects, Azure DevOps as well, which is quite nice. I just used it for the first time last year, and it's also quite good as well, and has integration with all Azure, so Microsoft stuff as well. So it's also quite nice. You also have integration with code repository, and it helps. But I think the biggest difference between Azure DevOps, which something I missed at least when I was using Azure DevOps in comparison to the Atlassian platform, is the Confluence. So they have a wiki as well, more or less trying to follow the steps from Confluence, but Confluence it's completely more robust than what we have in Azure DevOps. But so I still stick with Jira.
But as to the Confluence, that's another issue that we faced with the guys, because when we were on that table mode with no time tracking, with no reports, with anything else, we used Confluence pretty much. I mean, we put all the information, all the meetings notes and other stuff. And now when we switched to Jira, we faced with another thing. We do not use Confluence. More or less, we put some information there, but all the stuff that we are using is placed directly in Jira. So we put all the information into the tasks, we created epics. So we use it both a kind of like a Confluence page. I mean, not the Confluence, but an information page. And on the other hand, we can already use it for tracking and other things. So it works. But as you said in the very beginning, if it works, then it's fine. I mean, I think if we don't need the Confluence, then let it go. That's it. Okay. I guess we're a bit out of time, or not? How do you think? Shall we cover anything else, or?
Good question. I think
we can ask guys to put their questions in the comments, because I do believe that it's not the first 10 minutes podcast. So and I think Rafael, if it's okay, and if guys are not against it, we can share all this tools names in the comments. So if you want, if the audience want, you can just use it and check how it goes. Because I'm fond of Jira also, but you guys can every time pick something else, I guess.
So just go for your project needs. Jira, it's a good tool, but of course it depends on what you need and also on your budget. So depending on the tools you're using, there are some costs as well. But as Alex said, so please leave your comment, get a like.
There. Like that. Okay.
Thank you guys. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.